Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Enshrouded's had its first major update, the Hollow Halls update, adding brand new dungeons, new NPCs, new decorative and building items, and all new loot, as well as a huge amount of quality of life options. King Games have done a pretty good video breakdown, so I'm going to let it play and then I'm going to read the rest of the patch notes for you while you're hopefully downloading it.
Introducing Hollow Halls, a series of unique, massive dungeons, one in each biome. We've heard the community's call for more challenging combat exploration, and with this new update, we're excited to bring it to you. With the introduction of dungeons, we are also expanding our enemy faction, adding new craftable props, exclusive legendary rewards and your hard-won trophies, a mysterious crafting station with its own recipes, and new quests, one of which leads you to a brand new spooky NPC. But that's not all. We are also removing the 60Hz limitation and updating our camera motion to support higher frame rates and refresh rates. We have also reworked one of our towns, Willowcrush, that you can explore, as well as some of our locations that have been improved and are now more polished. For those enchanted by mystical worlds and cozy underground homes, we've crafted round doors and windows just for you. Get ready to elevate your creations to new heights, or new lows. And wait, there is more. Now you can actually sit down on furniture. Whether you've had a long day and need a break, had an urgent need to isolate yourself and think for a while, or just want to enjoy the view with your friends, the possibilities are endless. Are you a botanist at heart? We've got you covered with potted plants. Simply visit Emily the farm once you have crafted a kiln to access various types of leafy friends. And that's not all. We're expanding the variety of tree seedlings too, available at your seedbed station. Now let's talk about quality of life updates. Our loot UI design has received an overhaul. You are also now able to craft stacks of items instead of having to furiously spam the space button. The gift UI has also been greatly improved for ease of transferring items. Content of magic chests is also now available for workshops. That way, you no longer have to sprint from your chest to the workshop. Want a more in-depth player stats? We've got you covered. Stack splitting has also been enhanced, allowing for more flexibility in splitting stacks. With the new ping function on the world map, multiplayer coordination just got easier. No more shouting at Steve for going in a completely opposite direction. Simply point them to the specific area you want to meet up on the map. And lastly, for those struggling to find friends servers, worry no more. You can now locate servers via IP address with an added feature to conceal the address for those of you that stream, so that Dark Sasuke will not raid your base while you are out on an adventure. Ha! And you thought that this is it. There is more. But who am I kidding? If you're interested in seeing all the fixes and improvements, look out for the patch notes available on Steam, Discord, or our website. And if you want to help us spread the word, comment below with "Good work, guys." And until then, we will see you in the next one.
So you've seen the highlights mostly and the big quality of life improvements listed in the video. So let's cut straight to the rest of the new stuff. Updating the game has now been worked on so that you won't have to re-download a 30 GB size in the future. You might have to do it this one last time, but after this it will be much quicker with patches and updates. Lots of save data stability has been improved. Additional security layer of the game now automatically creates backups of the save data in periodic intervals. Should a save file become unreadable for any reason, a previous version will be loaded. Lots of performance and rendering it has been improved. Improvements to the graphical settings for sharpness, as well as being able to switch shadows on and off, and micro spiders being able to switch off. The big spiders will still be there, but yeah, if you really didn't like them or they creeped you out, you can now turn this off. So, more shields added to progression. The multi-shot no longer consumes multiple arrows when arrows are selected. This made the skill too expensive overall. Update the functionality of the leech stat, e.g. on the Ring of Endless Life, it now has a chance to convert a percentage of the damage dealt to enemies into health for the player. The player skill Bloodletting is no longer triggered by Light Burst and Acid Clone, fixed an issue that caused too high critical damage for the Acid Clone spell. An incorrect consumption of mana was fixed when using both skills Begone and Sun Aura. Similarly, Begone combined with traps no longer causes mana consumption. Fix an issue with blood rage caused by traps. Correct application of stun in multiplayer when using a terror skill has been fixed. The companion created by the Neuromancer skill now follows the player around more actively. Fix an issue where the updraft skill could be triggered multiple times per glider flight. The skill breach is no longer triggered with arrows. Hitting another player with water aura no longer backfires as damage when that player has counter-strike. The skill shell shock now works as described, which we can all agree is probably for the best. Warden and tower aura no longer trigger while the player is down. When successfully overpowering enemies, the merciless attack can now be triggered faster. Small tweaks to durability of various weapon types. Melee weapons lose durability slightly slower, ones slightly faster, and improved durability for rarer items. Reaching ledges at the intended jump height is slightly more forgiving. Fix an issue where arrows and spell ammunition couldn't be cycled properly when using the Q or LT shortcut with certain items selected in the action bar. Issues where the action bar and ammunition selection could skip slots on higher frame rates. Issues where eternal spells could be used up when simultaneously trying to throw explosive powder balls, and instances where sounds caused by skills or enemies could be heard by everyone in the party regardless of distance. They've all been fixed. Issue with the sickle scythe that sometimes got stuck in the wall after teleporting. Loot from flying enemies spawns correctly on the ground now. Enemies now find their better way through door frames and similar spaces. Enemies and wildlife now use a higher resolution grid for pathfinding. Improved steering behaviour for enemies and wildlife. Improved camera behaviour so it behaves less erratic when interacting with enemies. Improved enemy jump behaviour. Enemies can now block one projectiles. One projectiles no longer auto-target bear traps. Using the one to destroy props is easier now. Before, the homing feature of one projectiles didn't work correctly on non-enemy objects. Fix some cases where the heads of enemies with arrows result in too low damage. The game now prohibits using the fast travel function while falling. You can't magic your way from gravity. Fix an issue where interaction prompts were shown even though the interaction wasn't available, i.e. sleeping. Fix an issue where players could sit and regenerate stamina when falling. Improve the jumping behaviour while sliding down mud slopes. The player has now much stronger forward momentum. Fix several issues where the glider would be triggered unintentionally when trying to jump. Fix a glitch that allowed players to catapult into the air at beds. Fix a glitch where the player could gain altitude by entering and cancelling the glider. Fix the stamina issue with the hawk boots. The game now shows correct numbers when the player gains mana or stamina. Being affected by damage over time doesn't cancel the grappling hook, climbing walls and the glider anymore. Discrete hits still do. This will come in handy for dungeons. Fix several clipping issues for armor pieces. Salvaging higher rarity items in chests now work correctly. The game world. Ground fog is no longer appearing in the player base as the area is protected by the flame. Fixed many minor issues with floating objects or other similar visual glitches in points of interest. Fixed the incorrect appearance and recipes for the desert flower. New music playlist for Pike's Mead Reach. New playlist for combat in shroud areas. Several issues with ambient sounds have been fixed. Fixed an issue with doors in the spires when teleporting away and returning while halfway through the progress. Flame shrines now have a small ambient flame to indicate that the flame will regrow over time when the spark has been collected. Fixed the quest marker near the southern caravan area that remains a question mark even after exploring the area. The visualization of the borders of the player base now work better with combined areas of several flame altars and in case where no build areas are intersected into the base. They fixed an issue where terrain voxel would sometimes become transparent when building too close to the upper limit of the playable area, and updated some fireplaces that didn't offer the option for cooking or didn't give warmth for the resting buff. Fixed another instance of incorrectly saved growth state of plants such as berry bushes in the player base, added a quest for the spinning wheel to increase the visibility of the station. It is now possible to craft flower soil with Emily. Flower soil lets flowers grow faster than regular soil. Improved alignment of several double doors to better fit into the voxel grid. Fixed the rare issue where build pieces could be placed in a way that made it impossible to dismantle them as a whole. Fixed an issue where it was possible to build in margins of certain no build and no save zones. Hardwood is now used in additional recipes. Fixed an issue where objects could be dismantled invertly through walls while at the same time interfering with ceiling placement. Gardening shouldn't be a home wrecker. Allow undo function while building hammer is selected but building menu is closed. Fix a few instances where no build zone on beds was misaligned. Fix an issue where terraforming VFX were missing in certain situations. and the user interface. The character detail screen has been updated and many steps have been improved or renamed to add more clarity about gameplay effects. Reduce the visual clutter of enemy and player health bars. Player health bars only show up when players receive damage. Damage numbers are only shown per player. Enemy stun bar is hidden when the value is 0. For crit type enemies, the health bar is hidden unless they receive damage. Damage numbers on enemies are now shown closer to the health bar. Mana gain is now shown as values similar to health. Stamina gain is always displayed even if the stamina is consumed away, e.g. by sprinting. Fix several typos or text inconsistencies brought up by the community. The current server load is now correctly showing when playing on a dedicated server. Tweak the custom map marker menu. Fix an issue with location icons vanishing on the world map. Previously affected save games will get fixed after saving and reloading once. They fixed some cases where drop down menus would exit the screen if open too close to the board screen, and improved the wording on several error messages. Disable the please update graphic card driver message for older AMD graphic cards. Restored the charging progress indicator for staff spells, and fixed an issue for very long passwords in multiplayer sessions. Also several items that did not lose the new marker after selecting them. That should be about it. So that is a huge amount, and that's exactly what you want to see with updates like this. Sounds great. Big criticism of Enshrouded is it gets a bit too easy and a bit too repetitive. So anything that's going to add a little bit more replayability, or certainly just some new zones to go and explore, I'm totally down, and certainly more of a challenge. So this update does tick a whole bunch of boxes, and yeah, it's kind of good to see. I do still kind of wish we'd get more of a general heads up about what's in each update, but I can't argue with that. Look how many ticks there are about stuff they've added already in their first update. So great stuff. Credit where's credit's due. I've been a bit critical of them, especially with their building competition. I do think the game is good and definitely want to revisit. So I'm going to be streaming it tonight for sure. Going to squeeze in some time and swap some stuff over and give it a brand new shot. So come watch me, 8 PM UK time. And yes, I'll see you for more news and info about the best survival games going. Until next time, ratbags, laters.